Hello, my friends, and thank you for tuning into the podcast version of the Saturday Report with me, Colt Sebastian Taylor. Before we get started, just remind you to check out socialbee.io. They are my besties when it comes to social media management. Check them out at socialbee.io. 14-day free trial. Check them out. You like them. I like them. You'll probably use them just like me. All right, let's get started with this week's podcast version of the Saturday Report with me, Colt Sebastian Taylor.
Now broadcasting from his hidden bunker and fully stocked bar, it is the Saturday Report with Colt Sebastian Taylor.
Thank you and welcome once again, my friends, to the Saturday Report with me, Colt Sebastian Taylor, adventurer, entrepreneur, and amateur Florida district attorney. And welcome to AWSM Radio, an independent digital-only radio station that plays today's best music, old school classics, along with a rotating cast of all-star DJs. AWSM Radio focuses on mainstream artists, independent artists, along with a variety of interesting talk and music shows throughout the day. All we do is entertain, inspire, and inform. And my friends, I want to engage with you. I want you to be part of the conversation. So, find me on the Twitter, on the Instagram, on the Facebook, on the Cameo, on the Twitch, at Colt S. Taylor. You can catch up with everything I'm doing at ColtSebastianTaylor.com. And then finally, if you've missed the broadcast of this show, you can catch the podcast version at anchor.fm/Colt S. Taylor. Also posted on YouTube, just Colt S. Taylor. It pretty much is wherever you can find me. Alright, my friends, let's get started with this week's Saturday Report. Before we get started, though, with the first official story, I can't help but not to mention that you are probably following the news this weekend about the upcoming federal indictment of former President Donald Trump in Florida for a variety of mishandling of classified documents and whatnot. I am not going to cover that in detail on here because that's being covered by every single channel here. I would only note that I find it to be humorous that the party of, quote, law and order isn't much for the whole law and order. The party of accountability and self-responsibility, not so much hot on those topics today. Lots of people on the internets, on the Twitters, yelling all of this ridiculous things. But I'll make it real easy for you folks. Listen, if the government makes something like a document, it's government property. Your passport is government property. The money, the cash money you have in your wallet is government property. If the government says, hey, I need that back, you gotta give it back because it's their property. It's the taxpayers' property. Now, sometimes you might forget you have it. It happens. And when you find out, you hand it back. But if you refuse to hand it back, well, that's illegal. If you lie about not having it or lying about handing it back, again, illegal. So, just gonna put that out there. And for everyone out there saying, hey, how come President Biden hasn't been impeached or indicted for all that money he got from Ukraine? Well, there is one big difference between the accusations against President Biden and the accusations against former President Trump. The big difference being evidence. Evidence, yes. Now listen, evidence isn't Alex Jones talking about it, isn't Mark Levin, the great one. I can't believe he's still alive. Him talking about being outraged. It's not about Facebook memes, are not evidence. Actual physical evidence. Evidence. So that's the big difference between the two. There's evidence for one thing, and for the last 4 years, 2016 to 2020, what they sent over there again, not evidence. So, anyways, I will be following it. It'll be covered by all the different news channels. So if you're interested in that, definitely check that out over there. All right, first story, let's go. First up this week, Pat Robertson, former presidential candidate, chairman of the Christian Broadcast Network, passed away this week at the age of 93. They say only the good die young. He was a conservative evangelist, the founder of the Christian Coalition, and just generally a terrible person. I'm sure reached a lot of people. A lot of people loved Pat Robertson, but again, generally a terrible, terrible person. He sort of was a kingmaker in the late 80s and 90s and early 2000s of the Republican Party, sort of marshaling Christian conservative forces behind various candidates. But he also said lots of terrible things, too. For example, in the wake of the November 11th, 2001 attacks, him and fellow televangelist Jerry Falwell put blame for the attacks on abortion doctors, gay people, feminists, and the American Civil Rights Union because, that's why the attacks happened. In 2010, he claimed that the earthquake in Haiti that year was caused by enslaved black people who made a, quote, pact with the devil in the 18th century as they fought for liberation from French colonizers. He said that Hinduism was Satanism as well as Islam. He pretty much disliked everyone that wasn't his brand of Christianity. So, go figure. He was born on March 22nd, 1930 in Virginia. His father, Albelson Willis Robinson, was in the House of Representatives and the Senate as well. Graduated the Washington Lee University in 1950. Became a reservist in the U.S. Marines. Went to active duty, serving for roughly 2 years during the Korean War. When he ran for president in 1988, he somewhat embellished his record. Marine veterans who served with him at the time said that Robertson, the son of a politician, used political influence to avoid hard combat duty, allegations which he at the time denied. He created the Christian Broadcast Network, CBN. You probably know him most as the host of the 700 Club. I'm not quite sure if there was an 800 Club or a 650 Club, but 700 Club. I don't know why they picked it. I wasn't so curious to find out why and whatnot. At the time, though, however, it was a revolutionary concept. Departure from traditional Christian TV. The show is more of a talk show format, usually associated with quote-unquote secular entertainment. The show was originally hosted by Jim Bakker, fun fact, but he left in 1972, and then Pat Robertson took over that as well. Like I said, he sought the Republican presidential nomination in 1988, ran the primaries, won four state primaries, Nevada, Alaska, Washington State, and Hawaii, got 9% of the overall vote, came in third place behind Bob Dole, and then ultimately the nominee in 1988, George H.W. Bush and whatnot. He helped support George Bush's re-election in 92, Bob Dole in 1996, George W. in 2001, and then kind of retired on after that. He did, however, remain a defining face of the Christian right, beloved by conservatives. He prayed for Donald Trump's win in 2016 and said people who opposed his candidacy were, quote, revolting against what God's plan is for America. So, I mean, that can pretty much just sort of give you an idea how that is. Now, however, he did occasionally, reportedly, break from the Conservative Party line. For example, he called for the mandatory end the end of mandatory prison sentences for marijuana possession, saying that we should treat marijuana like we treat beverage alcohol. I can't help but to think that perhaps Patty Robinson was smoking a bit of the wacky weed. Whatnot. Anyways, he helped the Republicans take over Congress in 1994. He left the Christian Coalition, which is a advocacy group, in 2002. He stepped down as chief of CBN in 2007, but he continued to host the 700 Club up until 2021. So anyways, noted right-wing religious entertainer, kingmaker, conservative evangelist, former presidential candidate Pat Robertson passed away this week at the age of 93. Changing gears completely, Apple released a brand new product this week, the Apple Vision Pro. Now, what is the Apple Vision Pro? So, a lot of these tech companies have for years tried to cross over to the wearable electronics. We all have cell phones, we all have smartwatches, but a lot of people want to have something that goes over your eyes to give a heads-up display of what's going on around the world. Google tried it with Google Glass, little glass that kind of plopped over an eye and gave you, I guess, messages and directions and whatnot. Not super popular. In fact, Google decided to get out of that altogether, and there's actually no more quote-unquote Google Glass. Those who sank thousands of dollars into those Google Glasses actually have no more support for it. So basically, you're using a Commodore 64. If it breaks, you're out of luck. Facebook tried to do it. Again, failed. But now Apple Vision Pro is out with it. And I have to tell you, my friends, I took a look at the reviews. Are poor. Holy moly, they're terrible. If you haven't seen it, I'll give you a visual description of what it's like. Now, for Google Glass, and when you had glasses, you had like a little eye-sized glass panel that went in front of your eyes, and it would display stuff. Apple Vision Pro is a full-on set of goggles, like ski goggles. Complete ski goggles that wrap around your head. Yeah. What? So there's that. Apparently the battery only lasts for 2 hours. And guess what? The battery pack is on the goggles. It's a little cord that goes down to a battery pack that like sits in your pocket. So you're tethered to something else to actually use it. People are saying it's also a wee bit heavy. It's a wee bit heavy. It's like wearing a pair of heavy ski goggles. You can communicate with people with it, and they'll come up with a screen, and like they'll come up with a persona, FaceTime persona that's apparently a wee bit little creepy. Like the thing like scans your face. You hold the goggles out, it scans your face, and then it'll digitally recreate the face on the other end, I guess. So you can because the goggles are just over your face. They're over your face. And if you're on a FaceTime someone, the camera isn't out 30 feet. It's like a digital recreate your face. And a lot of people are saying it's a bit weird. It looks like a high-res version of a Memoji, but it just looks weird. Now, you're probably saying to yourself, Colt, how much? I want one. How much will this set me back? Now, typical iPhone, $800. High-end iPhone, $1,000. How much for these goggles? $1,000? No. $1,500? No. $2,000? No. 25? Nope. Nope. $3,500. $3,500 for these goggles. $3,500 for these goggles. Crazy. Crazy. That is a ridiculous amount of money for that. I don't think I'll run into anyone wearing Vision Pro. For one, it's only a 2-hour battery, so there's a small window where they'll be wearing that. They won't be wearing it out and about, and whatnot. So I don't see how. I don't understand. I don't understand, and I also understand like the Tim Pool, and then other Apple higher ranks are kind of like backing away from like, oh well, this is our first step and whatnot, and it's not worked out. Apparently, it's had a lot of development trouble, and I don't see how this. I feel like this is a swing and a miss. I could be wrong. I thought it was amazing when I saw a Tesla for the first time. And maybe in 10 to 15 years, everyone will be wearing these goggles around their face. But I don't see how a 2-hour powered ski goggle-like thing is going to appeal to anyone other than the most annoying people in society. Now, if I was given a free one, would I use it? Absolutely. Love winning free stuff. But, I don't know. Maybe this will be like the big thing they give out at conferences. Like you put a business card in and you can win a Vision Pro goggles. That's how I won a MacBook Air and an iPad once at a conference. So maybe, but $3,500, that's a lot of money. So, anyways, if you get one, let me know. I would love to hear your personal review on it. I'll interview you on my show. Now, something that does not need goggles that you experience without a $3,500 piece of equipment is the wonderful music we have here on the weekends, including my friend DC. He's got 3 shows here on AWSM Radio. First up, at 9 p.m. on Fridays, it's DC Live in Effect. DC is our in-house DJ where he mixes it up. You don't want to miss out while he smashes it on the ones and twos, kicking the beats from South Florida as Donald Trump makes his indictment on Tuesday. He probably listens. I don't want to guarantee he does, but I wouldn't be surprised. And then on Saturdays, it's DC House Party Saturdays. DC brings his freestyling DJing to the max. House Party Saturdays gives you the Miami vibe without actually having to be there from the top clubs to the bars. DC will bring the party to you. That's Saturdays at 10 p.m. And then Sundays at 10 p.m. it's DC Live in Effect again. Only here, my friends. Fridays at 9, Saturdays at 10, Sundays at 10, only here on AWSM Radio. Speaking of Florida, let's talk about the NBA Finals. It includes the Miami Heat and the Denver Nuggets. So far, I record this on a Friday, so far the Denver Nuggets lead 2-1. The Denver Nuggets took Game 1 on June 1st. The Miami Heat took Game 2 on June 4th. And then on June 7th, the Denver Nuggets took that game again, so they lead 2-1. There is a 4th game tonight in Miami. So obviously I don't have the results for that, even though you're listening to this on Saturday or Sunday. But, it doesn't matter tonight. There's going to be no winner of the series tonight. There's going to be at least 2 more games. So tonight, June 9th, last night, June 9th, it was in Miami. The Game 5, which is going to be needed one way or another, it's going to be in Denver. And then Game 6, back to Miami. Game 7, back to Denver. Both of those last 2, if needed. If Denver wins on Friday and then on the 12th, which will be a Monday, they'll win. But we'll see what happens. So it looks like the game is pretty tight. I don't watch NBA basketball stuff, but apparently point leaders, which I'm sure you would want to know. In game one, points. Bam The Miami Heat. Bam Adebayo was 26. Rebounds with 13. Jimmy Butler lead with 7 assists. For the Nuggets, Nikola Jokic, 27 points. Also the most assists at 14. Michael Porter Jr. with 13 rebounds. And then in game two, the most points for the Miami Heat, Gabe Vincent, Kevin Love with 10 rebounds, Jimmy Butler with 9 assists. Then for the Nuggets, Nikola Jokic, I guess he's really good, 41 points. He also had 11 assists, and Jamal Murray had 10 assists, 11 rebounds for Nikola. And then in the last game, for the Denver Nuggets, most points, Jamal Murray, rebounds, Nikola Jokic, assists, both Murray and Jokic at 10 each. And then for the Miami Heat, Jimmy Butler had 28, rebounds, Bam Adebayo, assists, both Lowry and Struss each got 5. So, I don't follow basketball. I assume I said all those things perfectly. Probably not. But the NBA Finals continue. But since we're talking about the NBA, listen, my friends, this is the perfect time for me to tell you about the NBA show we have here on AWSM Radio. And by Wednesday the 14th, which is the next time this show will air, there may not be a winner by June 14th. By June 14th, we might have a winner. By June 14th, we may not have a winner. I don't know. Okay? But what I do know is, on that evening, this Wednesday, To the Rack with Mac, our pal Mac Daddy is our go-to person for all things basketball, and he will have you up-to-date information about the NBA Finals, whether, it's all over or it's going to Game 5 and Game 6. Who knows? He will know. That's right. To the Rack with Mac. Tune in for all things NBA Wednesday nights, 9 p.m. only here, my friends, on AWSM Radio. Next up, my friends, if you were in New York City this past week, you had a pretty much preview of the movie Dune, because the city was covered in a thick haze of smoke from Canadian wildfires, turning the sky orange, causing massive amounts of delays at airports, canceling sports games. It was among the worst air quality ever recorded in the city. In fact, for a time this week, New York City had a worst air quality index than places in China and India, which are notorious for their air pollution. How did this happen? Well, if you're living under a rock, I'll just bring you up to speed. Canadian wildfires up in Ontario had thrown a lot of smoke up into the air, and various weather systems had pushed that smoke down into the northeastern part of the United States and was causing havoc. Havoc, I tell you. Now, listen, it wasn't a disaster. They were putting a lot, maybe embellished a bit, but it was still a serious situation. So for those who are unaware, in the United States, there are 6 levels of air quality. There's green for good, yellow for moderate, orange for, unhealthy for sensitive groups, red for just plain unhealthy, purple for very unhealthy, and then maroon for, oh boy, this is hazardous. And I have, I follow air quality. I mean, it's a map. I love maps. And I've seen orange on a regular basis in this area over the summer. Orange pops up once in a while. Red will pop up every now and again. But, however, on Wednesday, this entire area where I live, outside of Philadelphia, was in a deep maroon. Hazardous. The worst possible air here. And I'll tell you what, I spent a small amount of time outside on Wednesday, and it was awful. It was terrible. It smelled like smoke. There is a hill nearby that has a pagoda, the Reading Pagoda. I live near Reading. You could see it from my house. It's a landmark that you can see from throughout the entire city. Could not see it. Could not see the hill. I drove up there just out of curiosity to take a picture. Couldn't see the city of Reading, and the Reading's like right below it. Visibility was down to less than 2 miles. Where I was, it was much worse than New York. It looked like where I was, like in New York City, everything was orange. It looked like, apocalyptic. It looked like the movie Dune. Where I was, the haze was as thick as I had ever seen. It looked like Grand Theft Auto, where like the background, or a video game where the background doesn't render because your computer's running slow or your internet's slow. So like what's right in front of your character, it's there, but you can't see like beyond 10 or 20 feet, and everything's just flat and things are taking time to be rendered and appear before you. That is how it looked. It was so hazy at night. The light that lights up my flagpole at night, it was hazy at night as well through the light. It was bizarre. I have never seen it that hazy. I've seen fog, obviously. It was like a foggy day, but it was hazy, and it smelled. When I went to the grocery store, pick up my Wednesday sushi special, the kids pushing grocery carts back into the grocery store, they're all wearing masks. The mailman, who goes, very friendly guy, loves my dog, the mailman was wearing like a contractor respirator going from house to house delivering mail. It was woof. It was a rough week. And if you had asthma or lung issues, it was an even rougher week for you. So, and for those who are saying, oh, hey, no big deal, California deals with it all the time. Yeah, they do, because it's bad. And for those who say, oh, India deals with it all the time, they're fine. No, a lot of people die in India and China with air pollution. So, like, it was a big deal. But anyways, pretty amazing. And if you follow me on the Twitter, you would have seen me posting those pictures throughout the week. So definitely follow me on Twitter. So hope you are doing okay where you are. But the great Canadian haze, which I'm calling it, of June 2023 is over. Will it be back again? I don't know. Probably. But not anytime soon. Next, my friends, we go to Japan. Yes, Japan. Where, obviously, people work there as well, just like everyone around the world. But in Japan, there is a strong culture of remaining loyal to the company you work for. In fact, many people get hired by a job and work there all their life. That's right. There's a very deep cultural... the concept is called karoshi, known as working oneself to death. Not so much like in a day, but like working long-term commitment to a company. And so many managers and owners will try to guilt and shame people to stay if they want to leave their job. But never fear, my Japanese listening audience, because there is a company that you can pay 20,000 yen to, which is about $144, and they will quit for you. Yes, that's right. There's a startup company called Exit, where they will confront your boss and quit for you for $144. Employers, quote, the co-founder said, quote, employers tried to make you ashamed and guilty that you quit your job in less than 3 years. And so for folks that want to move on, this company will do it for you. The exact, like I said, is 20,000 yen, or about $144, and they'll do it for you. It was founded by Tojuki Nino in 2017, while he was trying to quit a job that he was unhappy with. Quote, when you try to quit, they give you a guilt trip. We try to make you ashamed and guilty that you quit your job in less than 3 years, and I had a very difficult time. Nino teamed up with his childhood friend Yuriko Azaki and created a company that now sees 10,000 requests each year, according to a report from Al Jazeera. Most of the clients are in their 20s. Quote, the two major reasons I see are they are scared of their boss, so they cannot say they want to quit, and they also feel guilty they have for wanting to quit. or whatnot. So it seems like if you quit or if you don't complete it, it's like a sin. It's like you made some sort of bad mistake. Now, the average length of someone working across the industries is 12.4 years. So people generally work for 12.4 years at any given job, which is crazy. I mean, have you had a job for more than 12 years? I haven't. I haven't. I had a job for 10 years, but then I moved on, and I've been doing this for a few years. I mean, AWSM pays me a just an exorbitant amount of money, so I'll be here for at least 12 years, I think. Thank you. Yeah, so I can understand. I've had to quit in my time. I have had to quit I've had to quit 3 jobs in person twice. One, I was a substitute teacher. I said, I don't want to do this anymore. Find a different one. And then one job where I worked at a mail order catalog company. They were clearly going out of business, and then I got a new job. I said, hey, I got an offer. And I thought they might offer me more money to stay, but the guy said, boy, you should take that. So, oh, well, I guess my decision's made for me. Unfortunately, that job I left was terrible. Nice people. The people were nice, but the environment just wasn't the environment for me. Had a lot of stress. I was stressed out. Had a lot of anxiety. I just was not I thought I might have been a good fit for the environment. Turns out I was not. And so I went to the owner and said, hey, listen, it's been 8 weeks. I'm not doing very well here, and I feel like I'm stealing money from you. And it was a husband-wife company who hired me. I said, I feel like I'm stealing money from you because I'm clearly not going to be lasting long here. So perhaps it's best that I just be on my way. And boy, howdy, they didn't fight me on that one either. I guess they kind of felt the same thing in retrospect, huh? Yeah, I guess they well, hey, you know what? No hard feelings. I'll have to say, I bet their office as a whole has never been as much fun as it was when I was there for 8 weeks. I'm a blast. But anyways, if you live in Japan and you want to quit your job and your boss is mean or makes you feel guilty, check out Exit. Do they have a website? I did do Exit Japan. Do they have a website? They do have a website. Yes, they do. Oh my goodness. All right. Oh, it's all in Japanese. I have no idea what it means. Okay, never mind. No idea what. No. But anyways, look it up on Google over there, and you'll be able to you'll be able to find them. Moving along on lighter news, I came across this article that I had to share with you. There was a survey of over 500 hotels asking for the most unusual room service requests. I'm sure there's some room service requests that they can't list here, like looking for ladies of the night or crack cocaine, but these are the 10 weirdest items asked for by a room service. Number 10, eggless eggs in hell, which apparently is a type of dish called the shakashuka. Bison, type of meat. Rice bowl for a dog. Okay, not too crazy. No egg white omelet. Hard to do. Cockle popcorn. Now we get a little weirder. A cooked fish, not unusual, but a cooked fish that the guest brought with them. Boiled bottled water. Blowfish, highly dangerous. Number 2, melted ice cream. Bleh. And then finally, number 1, most likely weirdest thing asked by room service, diet water. That is, that's crazy. So, in a related note, one of the most, in this article, says that some of the most popular item asked for, those are the weirdest, the most popular item asked for, is a burger from room service. And because it's so popular, some hotels are trying to differentiate themselves by offering unique things. So there is a the Milestone Hotel in London offers in-room concerts for members of the Royal Philharmonic Orchestra. So that's that there. At the Post Oak Hotel in Houston, you can get a $1,600 burger with a 24 karat gold brooch bun. I don't know what that is. And then finally, the Plaza Hotel in New York offers a Home Alone Sundae for $300 based off the Home Alone 2 Lost in New York. It's a dessert with 16 scoops of ice cream and several layers of topping. If you've seen that movie, you'll know exactly that. Also, fun fact, that movie also stars currently indicted former President Donald Trump and a cameo. So if you want to see a movie that has a former indicted president in it, that's one. If you want to see a movie with two future, now former governors of U.S. states, you would want to watch The Predator, featuring Arnold Schwarzenegger, who is the governor of California, and Jesse the Body Ventura, who is the governor of Minnesota. A little fun fact there for you. Next, my friends, we go to my own backyard here in Pennsylvania, less than an hour away from me along the Susquehanna River, where a humongous catfish was caught, setting a state record. That's right. This person, Michael Worley from Fayetteville, Pennsylvania, caught a 66-pound flathead catfish. According to a statement given during a June 6th news release, quote, when it finally came to the surface, all I could think was it was humongous. Humongous. He has been fishing for flathead catfish along the Susquehanna River for about 15 years near the town of Conestoga, which I've been to, actually. Very nice place. This was May 14th with a friend around 10 a.m., and the fish were starting to bite. Quote, it was a little bit crazy, but we managed to start reeling him in. There was a 30-pounder, and then my friend brought a 45-pounder. It's a big fish. That ended up breaking the net when we tried to lift it into the boat. He felt his third rod start to spin and spent the next 30 minutes, half an hour, reeling it in, causing his arms to cramp in the process. When I got the fish next to the boat, I handed the rod to my friend and stuck both of my hands into the fish's mouth and pulled as hard as I could aboard. We knew we had something big. Now, this is a 66-pound catfish. The previous record was 56 pounds. The previous record, 56 pounds and 3 ounces. An official for the Pennsylvania Fish and Motorboat Commission officially weighed the catfish at 66 pounds, 6 ounces, beating the previous record by more than 10 pounds. With the official record, Worley brought the fish back to the river and released it back in there. He said, quote, it is just incredible. I'm really glad we were able to release the fish back into the river. My previous personal best flathead was 44 pounds last year. I know I've had bigger ones in the line, but they got off before I could get them onto the boat. I'll enjoy this record as long as it lasts, but I'm sure it will probably be broken within a year or two, if not sooner. I'm 100% certain there are even bigger fish out there. My friends, listen, that might be the biggest catfish, but the biggest drive time show we have here is the Rock Sessions. That's right. My pal Rock's beautiful, fantastic, lovely, makes my heart skip. She has a drive time show here. Make sure your evening commute home is fun, featuring the hottest music on the charts and some other surprises in between. She will make it rock style, Monday through Friday, 5 p.m. to 7 p.m., only on AWSM radio. And then, folks, listen, if you need more sports, we talked about To the Rack with Mac, but if you need more sports, then on Wednesdays, also, after To the Rack with Mac, it's What's Going On at 10 p.m. What's Going On is our Fox Sports affiliate show, providing listeners with over 150 combined years of sports knowledge. Hosted by Nate Brown and his crew, they have been a staple of New York sports for the past 2 decades, and now they're moving national. That's Wednesdays at 10 p.m. What's Going On, only here on AWSM Radio. And my friends, that's about all the time we have here on the Saturday Report with me, Colt Sebastian Taylor. Thank you for joining me here today. Remember, you can find me on a whole slew of social media channels: Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, Cameo, Counter, Social, Twitch, at Colt S. Taylor. The podcast version of the show is at anchor.fm/Colt S. Taylor. And then catch up on all my adventures at ColtSebastianTaylor.com. Until next time, my friends, I am Colt Sebastian Taylor, and I'll see you later. And once again, thank you for listening to the podcast version of the Saturday Report with me, Colt Sebastian Taylor. Check out socialbeat.io in the link below. And my friends, I will see you next week right here on the podcast version of the Saturday Report with me, Colt Sebastian Taylor.